Kimmel is next to go in the untalented late-night sweepstakes, which is alarming because I don't know if you know this, Jimmy Kimmel is me.
ABC is pulling Jimmy Kimmel's late-night show off the air indefinitely after pressure from President Trump's appointee leading the FCC and local broadcast company Nexstar. Kimmel recently speculated on the air that the man who killed MAGA activist Charlie Kirk could have been on the far right himself. Today, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr went on a MAGA influencers podcast and threatened action against ABC's local affiliate licenses. Nexstar, one of the largest owners of TV stations in the U.S., announced later today it would stop airing Kimmel's show for the foreseeable future.
Trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years, and it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. Okay. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction. There's demolition, construction. This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish, okay? And it didn't just happen once.
When I heard it, I was in the midst of, building a great, for 150 years they've wanted a ballroom at the White House, right? They don't have a ballroom. They have to use tents on the lawn for President Xi when he comes over. If it rains, it's a wipeout. And so I was with the architects that would design. It's going to be incredible. And they came in, they said, Charlie Kirk is dead. I didn't know what they meant. I said, he was dead. Charlie Kirk was shot. And they thought he was dead because it was so horrific, And I said, dead.
And then we installed the most beautiful chandelier. Sconces you wouldn't believe. There's something wrong with them. There really is.
In the ever-evolving landscape of late-night television, few names have been as consistently provocative and culturally relevant as Jimmy Kimmel. Known for his sharp wit, political satire, and unapologetic commentary, Kimmel has long walked the tightrope between entertainment and controversy. But in a recent video that's been making the rounds online, a bold claim is made. Jimmy Kimmel has been canceled. Not in the metaphorical sense we often hear tossed around on social media, but literally. According to the video's narrator, Kimmel's late-night show has been pulled off the air indefinitely, and the reasons behind it are as layered as they are contentious. Before we dive into the details, if this is your first time here, welcome. Don't forget to hit that like button, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe so you never miss a breakdown like this. God bless you for being here. Now, let's take a closer look at what's being said, why it matters, and what it tells us about how comedy, politics, and media power collide in today's America. What does canceled really mean? The term canceled has become a cultural buzzword. Originally used to describe public backlash against celebrities or influencers who said or did something offensive, it's now a catch-all phrase for any form of social or professional rejection. In this case, the video claims that Jimmy Kimmel's show was removed from ABC's programming lineup, possibly for good, because of jokes he made that were deemed too offensive. But who decided this? And why now? The joke that sparked the firestorm. At the heart of the controversy is a segment Kimmel aired in which he joked about President Donald Trump and the death of Charlie Kirk, a prominent conservative activist often associated with the MAGA movement. According to the video, Kimmel mocked Trump's reaction to Kirk's death, suggesting that Trump was more interested in building a new ballroom at the White House than genuinely grieving. He referred to this as the fourth stage of grief, a biting piece of satire that didn't sit well with many viewers, especially those sympathetic to Trump and Kirk. To some, this was classic Kimmel, irreverent, bold, and unafraid to poke fun at political figures. To others, it crossed a line, making light of someone's death and trivializing grief for the sake of a punchline. The reaction: disrespect or satire. The speaker in the video doesn't mince words. They describe Kimmel's jokes as distasteful and disrespectful, arguing that Trump had shown genuine sorrow over Kirk's passing. They point to Trump's public statements, his involvement in Kirk's funeral arrangements, and even the symbolic gesture of flying flags at half-staff as evidence of sincere mourning. In their view, Kimmel wasn't just making a joke, he was attacking a grieving man and mocking a deceased activist. The speaker suggests that Kimmel's disdain for Trump and Kirk fueled the segment, turning what could have been a moment of reflection into a spectacle of cruelty. This raises an important question. When does satire stop being satire and start becoming something more harmful? The fallout. Who pulled the plug? According to the video, the backlash wasn't just emotional, it was institutional. ABC, the network that airs Kimmel's show, reportedly decided to pull it indefinitely. But the decision wasn't made in a vacuum. The video claims that pressure came from high places, including the Federal Communications Commission, led by a Trump-appointed official, and Nexstar, a major television station owner with conservative ties. If true, this suggests a coordinated effort to silence Kimmel, not just because of public outrage, but because of political influence. It's a serious allegation, one that touches on issues of censorship, media control, and the role of government in regulating speech. The bigger picture: why this is complicated. This isn't just a story about a comedian getting in trouble. It's a window into a much larger debate that's been simmering for years. 1. Political humor versus insensitivity. Comedy has always been a tool for social commentary. From George Carlin to Jon Stewart, comedians have used humor to challenge authority, question norms, and provoke thought. But there's a fine line between satire and insensitivity, especially when the subject involves death or personal grief. Some argue that Kimmel's joke was a legitimate critique of political hypocrisy. Others believe it was a tasteless jab at a moment of genuine sorrow. The truth likely depends on your perspective and your politics. 2. The irony of cancel culture. One of the most striking elements of the video is its use of the term cancel culture. Traditionally, this phrase has been associated with progressive movements calling out racism, sexism, or other forms of discrimination. But in this case, the speaker suggests that Kimmel, often seen as a liberal voice, was canceled by conservative forces. It's a twist of irony. The very people who often criticize cancel culture are now accused of using it to silence someone they disagree with. This highlights how the concept has become a political weapon, wielded by both sides depending on the situation. 3. Media and political power. Perhaps the most troubling aspect of the story is the suggestion that powerful political figures and media corporations can control what we see and hear. If a comedian show can be pulled because of pressure from government officials or major broadcasters, what does that say about freedom of speech? It's a reminder that the media landscape is not just shaped by ratings and audience preferences, but also influenced by politics, money, and power. What does this mean for comedy? Jimmy Kimmel's situation isn't unique. Comedians have always faced backlash for pushing boundaries, but in today's hyper-polarized climate, the stakes are higher. Every joke is scrutinized, every segment dissected, and every word potentially weaponized. This creates a chilling effect. Comedians may start to self-censor, avoiding topics that could spark controversy. Networks may become more cautious, prioritizing safety over boldness. And audiences may lose access to the kind of sharp, unfiltered commentary that makes comedy such a vital part of public discourse. Is Kimmel really gone? As of now, there's no official confirmation from ABC about the permanent cancellation of Jimmy Kimmel's show. Networks often take breaks, reshuffle programming, or respond to controversies with temporary suspensions. But the video paints a grim picture, one in which Kimmel's career has been derailed by a single segment and the political forces it provoked. Whether or not the show returns, the conversation it sparked is worth having. It forces us to think about the role of comedy in society, the limits of free speech, and the power dynamics that shape our media. Final thoughts. a moment of reckoning. The Jimmy Kimmel controversy is more than just a headline, it's a reflection of the times we live in. A time when jokes can end careers, when political affiliations determine public reactions, and when media decisions are influenced by forces far beyond the studio. It's a moment of reckoning for comedians, networks, and audiences alike. What kind of content do we want? Who gets to decide what's acceptable? And how do we balance humor with humanity? In the end, Jimmy Kimmel may have been trying to make a point, but the reaction to his joke made an even bigger one, that in today's world, every word matters and every laugh comes with consequences.